Thanksgiving ended with a sound I'll never forget, porcelain shattering beside my face. My name is Morgan, 35. The quiet eldest who keeps receipts because in my family, emotions come with price tags. Carla, my sister, 29, single mom of triplets, leaned over the turkey and said, "We're taking your spare room Sunday." Mom's voice followed, smooth as a command. "Family first." I kept my tone even. "No." Silence fell hard. Spoons froze midair. Then the plate flew. Gravy streaked down the wall like proof that love can turn into aim. I stood, wiped my sleeve, and stepped onto the porch. The air was sharp, honest. I called my lawyer. "Everything is just as you said. Activate the plan." Inside, the baby monitor's red light blinked, meant for toddlers now watching adults. Breath in, breath out. Have you ever learned that no is the kindest way to love? The thing about family is, they never remember the yeses, only the first no. After the plate, the room reset like nothing happened. Mom poured wine. Carla wiped her hands and started feeding the triplets mashed potatoes as if she hadn't just called me selfish. That was her rhythm. Rage, rinse, repeat. I sat, listening to spoons clink, the hum of the fridge behind me. The quiet was heavier than shouting. Growing up, I learned to write things down because no one listened when I spoke. I covered city budgets for a living now, tracing how money leaks through cracks people pretend not to see. I recognized that same leak at our table, only this time it was my wallet. Carla had been dipping into my accounts for months. Little things first, $20 for formula, $60 for daycare. I told myself she was drowning and I could swim, but drowning people pull. Mom called it helping. I called it math. 7 years of saving had bought me a small 2-bedroom, not a charity. But in their eyes, independence was betrayal. "You've changed," Mom said once, after I refused to pay another late fee. I had. I started keeping records. I learned to say no out loud instead of just thinking it. That's what made me dangerous to them. Carla's triplets were beautiful chaos, sticky fingers, high-pitched laughter. I loved them, but every visit came with a bill disguised as guilt. When she texted, "They miss you," it meant "we need you." And when Mom said "family first," she really meant "your peace last." At the table, Mom dabbed her napkin and sighed. "You know, Morgan, gratitude isn't your strong suit." I smiled. Boundaries are. Her eyes flickered, offense dressed as pity. Dad stayed quiet, the background hum of our life, never choosing sides, only channels. The boys banged their spoons again, and the sound filled the space where apologies should have been. I wanted to leave, but leaving meant war. So I stayed still, tracing the rim of my glass until the shaking in my hand stopped. If you've ever been the dependable one, you know, help becomes habit. Habit becomes duty, and duty becomes debt. That night, I realized the only debt I still owed was silence. Breath in, breath out. I used to think responsibility was love wearing sensible shoes. That's how I justified every transfer, every late night "can you help" message. Carla called it family loyalty. Mom called it sacrifice. I called it normal. But normal shouldn't make you check your bank app twice a day. It started small, a $19.99 charge for a kid's game, then another, then a $79.99 super pack. My card never left my wallet. I asked Carla about it. She sent a shrug emoji and a voice note. They must have clicked something. Relax. I didn't relax. I checked my statements, scrolled through transactions like reading a diary I didn't write. When I asked again, she said Mom had borrowed the card once for groceries. Maybe she used it by mistake, Carla said. Then, quiet. Maybe you should just combine accounts so it's simpler. Family plan. Something inside me went still. I'd seen scams built on smaller lies. I'd interviewed landlords who forged names for rent relief, mothers who opened credit cards in their kids' names to buy gas. But I never thought I'd have to run a fraud investigation in my own family. I found the photocopy of my driver's license, the one I'd sent Mom last year to be added as an emergency contact for Carla's clinic. My Social Security number had been written on a sticky note. The note was gone. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat in the dark, the baby monitor's red light glowing in the corner of my mind, even though it wasn't on. I kept hearing Mom's voice from years ago. Family helps family. but help had turned into a leash. When I told my lawyer, Nana, she said, "Document everything. Don't confront yet. Let them speak first." So I waited. Thanksgiving was coming. 2 days before the dinner, a message popped up in our family group chat. A photo of my house. Mom had written, "Plenty of space. Family first." Relatives reacted with heart emojis like they were voting on generosity. No one asked if I'd agreed. I texted, "No one is moving into my home. I'll help find resources." Mom replied, "Resources? We are your resource." Carla added, "Don't lecture me, reporter girl." The words hit harder than the plate that would come later. They were proof of something I'd always known, but never named. They didn't want help. They wanted access. That night, I found myself rereading my own texts from the past year. I'll cover daycare this time. I'll call the plumber. I'll bring groceries. They were small receipts of surrender, written in good intentions. I closed the app and whispered to no one, "No more." For the first time, I felt what peace might sound like. The low hum of the fridge, the click of my pen as I wrote a note in the margin of a bill. Fraud alert filed. Passwords changed. Locks next. The truth was simple. I didn't want revenge. I wanted distance without guilt. By the time Thanksgiving arrived, I wasn't angry. I was ready. Sometimes strength isn't fire. It's preparation. And sometimes love looks exactly like locking your own door. The house smelled like cinnamon and tension. Mom had made her cranberry sauce, the kind that kept the ridges from the can. Carla's boys were drumming plastic spoons on their trays, 3 tiny percussionists celebrating chaos. I'd promised myself no arguments, just pie, polite smiles, and out the door before dessert. But people like my mother could turn peace into a test. Carla leaned over the table, too casual. "We're moving in Sunday," she said, as if reading a headline. I blinked. "Excuse me?" Mom didn't look up. "It's decided. You have the space." "That's my office," I said quietly, "and my house isn't baby-proofed." Mom's knife stopped mid-slice. "Don't be dramatic. You can write at the kitchen table." I laughed once. "No." The word landed like a glass shattering. Carla froze, then whispered, "You're seriously saying no to your own family?" "Yes." The air thickened. The triplets banged their spoons like a countdown. Then came the plate. Gravy, stuffing, turkey, flying past my ear, bursting against the wall. "You're such an egoist," Carla screamed. Mom didn't flinch. "Don't call me your daughter anymore if you're going to act like this," I said. Her eyes narrowed. "Then don't call me your mother." I didn't answer. I just stood, wiped gravy from my sleeve, and stepped onto the porch. Cold air steadied me. The phone felt small and warm in my hand. "Everything is just as you said," I told Nana. "Activate the plan." Inside, the baby monitor blinked, its little red eye still recording. I'd set it up that morning to watch the kids near the stove. Turns out, it was watching everything else, too. 20 minutes later, the TV in the living room chimed. Dad had cast the baby monitor feed to the screen earlier, so everyone could keep an eye on the toddlers. He'd forgotten to turn it off. The cloud upload was automatic. The video thumbnail glowed. New clip saved. 12:41 p.m. to 1:09 p.m. Then Carla's voice filled the room from an hour earlier. "If Morgan says no, we'll just move in anyway. She melts when the boys cry. Worst case, we change her locks while she's at work." Mom's voice followed, calm as tea cooling. "She'll forgive you. She always does. And if she gets loud, tell the cousins she's having a breakdown." Silence fell. You could hear the fridge hum, the kind of silence that weighs more than words. Carla lunged for the remote, but Dad, shaking, hit the wrong button and made it louder. I walked back in, stood in the doorway. "I brought pie," I said softly. "You brought evidence." No one laughed. Mom whispered, "You planned this." "I planned peace," I said. "It just looks different than you expected." Phones started buzzing. Nana's email had arrived, messages, screenshots, group chat threads, proof of every quiet theft and joke they'd made about Operation Guilt. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. The truth was finally louder than all of us. Carla pointed at me, her voice shaking. "You set us up." "I brought pie," I said. "You threw dinnerware." Mom stood, chin high, pretending this was still her stage. "You're making this bigger than it is." "Is it?" I asked quietly. "Because adding me as a guarantor without my consent feels big. Using my card feels bigger. Planning to change my locks, enormous. Aunt Teresa looked down at her lap. Uncle Joe studied the ceiling like it might save him. Dad stayed still, the remote clutched like a relic. I slid my phone across the table. In the last 12 months, I've covered $1,286 in emergencies, $1,100 in food deliveries to your address, $679 in subscriptions you signed up under my card. I paid daycare late fees twice, replaced your screen door, took the boys to the ER when you couldn't. I did it because I love them. But love isn't a debit card. Mom whispered, "This is cruelty." "This," I said, "is a boundary." Carla's breathing turned shallow. "We're moving in Sunday. Try and stop me." "You returned your key," I said. "The locks are changed." Her eyes darted to Mom. "You have one." "I did," Mom said slowly, then stopped. Realization crossed her face like a shadow. "Check your purse," I said. She did. Inside was an empty key ring and a note in Nana's handwriting. "Keys are not commitments." Mom's lips thinned. "You're unbelievable." Better than unforgivable. The triplets began fussing, small cries puncturing the silence. Dad finally rose halfway, mumbling, "Let's all calm down." No one did. I picked up my coat. "I'm leaving before dessert. I don't feel safe here." "Run away," Mom spat. "I'm walking," I said. "There's a difference." Outside, the air was cleaner. The cold helped me breathe again. My phone buzzed. Nana's message. Step 3. Ready? I looked through the window. My mother's tight smile, my sister's trembling hands, 3 small boys rubbing their eyes. "Yes," I texted back. The next morning, 7:13 a.m., my doorbell rang. Not gentle, angry. I checked the camera feed. Mom on the porch, Carla on the sidewalk, suitcases beside the stroller. I didn't open the door. Mom called, then Carla. I let it ring out. A text appeared. "We're outside, let us in." Then, "We'll call the cops. You're keeping our things." "You have no things here," I replied. Mom posted in the family chat, "Your sister and babies are locked out in the cold." Angry emojis followed, until Nana dropped a new message from my number, a certified letter addressed to Mom and Carla, time-stamped, stating they were not tenants, had no permission to enter, and any further attempt would be unlawful. Below it, screenshots of their messages about changing locks and using my card. Silence. Then Aunt Teresa typed, "Lorna, this is too far." Uncle Joe, "You can't just move into someone's house." My cousin Luke, future office squatter, left the chat entirely. Mom banged the door again. I pressed the intercom. "I'll help you find a family shelter, Mom. I'll buy diapers, but I won't let you move in." "You're heartless," she said. "I have a heart," I answered. "It's just not for rent." Carla cried that morning, real tears, real fear. For a second, I almost opened the door. Then my phone buzzed again. Attempted login from a new device. I stared at the notification, then at the faces on the porch. "Stop," I said into the intercom. "Nah, filed the fraud report." Carla went still. "So it's war," she whispered. "It's not," I said. "It's a ceasefire, with rules." She turned, pushing the stroller down the walkway. Mom followed in silence. 10 minutes later, she posted online. "Some people forget who rocked them as babies." Nah texted me right after. "Don't respond." We finished the plan. The rest was simple. I paid the daycare 2 weeks ahead so the boys wouldn't suffer. Sent Carla a grocery-only gift card, shared resources for single parents. Then I froze my credit, locked my cards, and for the first time in years, slept through the night. Guilt came knocking in whispers, but peace knocked louder. Over the weekend, Mom left a voicemail. Her voice tired, smaller. "You made your point. The boys ate pasta tonight. Carla filled out forms. You didn't come fix the crib, and somehow it got fixed anyway." A pause. "Bring them to the park Saturday, if you want." I saved the message. Not as proof, but because it was the first time she'd offered something that wasn't a demand. I didn't become cold or rich. I still send lists of meal programs when Carla asks. I still kneel on the sidewalk so 3 small boys can climb my shoulders and call me Morgan instead of Aunt. I just stopped paying for lessons they refuse to learn. My house is quiet now. The spare room is still an office, not a rescue site. The camera above the door still blinks red. not from fear, but from memory. People think the turning point was the plate. It wasn't. It was the morning after, when I didn't open the door. That's how peace begins, one boundary at a time. The fridge hums softly behind me. The air tastes clean again. Have you ever had to choose peace over approval?